I did rehabilitation abroad for more than a year, and finally I can eat, dress, and walk independently without any assistance. These simple little things for ordinary people are as difficult as picking stars for me. Even the doctor said it was a medical miracle. After all, the car accident had put me in a deep coma for 3 whole years. Everyone thought I would not wake up, or if I woke up, I would become stupid and paralyzed. But not only did I wake up, but I got better and better in the rehabilitation for more than a year, and even stood up soon, and I was no different from ordinary people. For this day, I endured pain that ordinary people could not endure and countless mental breakdowns. I have waited too long for this day. I can finally pack my luggage and return home, ready to give Jiang-yi, who doesn't know I have woken up, a surprise. But when I endured the discomfort of a long flight and secretly returned to Jiang-yi's house, it was filled with large and small red wedding characters. The house was renovated. The cat climbing frame that I designed by myself, which reached the roof, was dismantled and replaced with a pink cabinet. My friends were blowing balloons, my classmates were hanging lace. My aunt selected the most round and plump longans and peanuts, and tried to arrange the 4 words, early birth of a noble son, on the red dragon and phoenix bed. My boyfriend was wearing a well-tailored suit, as exquisite as a mannequin in the window. A wedding photo of a couple was hung on the wall. The girls smiled so sweetly. At this time, a person holding hot tea accidentally touched my arm. The hot water splashed on my body and quickly burned a red mark. The man exclaimed. Now everyone looked at us. There was shock and joy in their eyes, but more embarrassment and helplessness. My aunt didn't even hold the longan in her hand firmly, and it fell to the ground. All the laughter and joy stopped at that moment. Jiang-yi's pupils shrank slightly, and soon, his face turned pale. He spoke uncertainly, his voice trembling. Lin Sun. I pulled out an expression that was uglier than crying. Not knowing whether to respond, my body instinctively took 2 steps back, and then ran out quickly. It was already autumn in Penang, and the cold wind outside was biting. Some withered fallen leaves were piled up on both sides of the road. When I stepped on them, the veins of the leaves broke, and the sound was a bit harsh. Because of the sequelae, I didn't run fast, and a short distance almost exhausted all my strength. Soon, a pair of arms stretched out from behind and tightly hugged my waist. Jiang-yi held me in his arms, and the whole person was trembling. You're back, Lin Sun, I miss you so much. My tears fell on his expensive suit. I'm back, but everything seems to be gone. Jiang-yi went to the girl's house to break off the engagement. There were still 18 hours before the wedding. My little aunt gently stroked my face, her eyes full of tears. Don't blame Jiang-yi, he has suffered too much in the past 4 years. If it weren't for that girl, he might not have survived. I felt like I had something stuck in my throat, and my eyes fell on the corsage on her right chest, a beautiful red rose, with a ribbon of the same color hanging below, with 3 words written on it, witness. My little aunt quickly covered the corsage with her hands, and her well-maintained face was a little embarrassed. Xiaoxuan, Aunt is not going to betray you, Aunt it's just that I didn't think you would wake up. The voice was so subtle that it was almost inaudible at the end. I swallowed the blood in my mouth, and at the moment when tears were about to overflow from my eyes, I said, I just returned to China and need to adjust to the time difference. I'm going to sleep first, then. I broke free from her other hand and went back to the room alone. The quilt covered my entire face, tears rolled down in big drops, and I curled up in pain. This heart-wrenching feeling is even 100 times more painful than the pain I felt when I started rehabilitation. I even wondered if this was just a nightmare. It was like the kind of dream I often had when I first started rehabilitation. I dreamed that I would always be a stupid cripple. I would never be able to pick up a spoon. Saliva would flow out when I opened my mouth, and I would never learn to go to the toilet. I don't know how long it took, but my quilt was pulled away, and the bed sank a bit, and I knew Jiang-yi was back. The air was so quiet and scary. I finally couldn't help but sit up slowly and meet his eyes. 2 buttons of his shirt were torn off, his tie was in half, there were purple bruises on his face, and even the corners of his mouth were broken. Did they beat you? It's okay, I deserve it. Of course I understand. At this juncture, the invitations have been sent out, the wedding banquet has been booked, and the bride's family will not let him go easily if he regrets the marriage at the last minute. If I hadn't come back, tomorrow, they should have said their vows, exchanged rings, and completed the ceremony in front of everyone. When I thought of this, my fingertips dug deep into my palms, my throat was sour, but I still asked the question that had been buried in my heart, Jiang-yi, do you also think that I won't come back? Jiang-yi pursed his lips and lowered his eyes slightly. After a long while, he slowly uttered a few words, Xiao-sun, I will be with you, and I will never leave you again. He didn't answer directly, but the sincere promise in his words made me feel even more uncomfortable. At this time, Jiang-yi's phone rang. He took out his phone, and on the screen was a photo of him and the girl, and the caller's name was, Dear Wife. The font was also set to cartoon mode. I think it was the handwriting of that girl. Dear Wife, what an intimate name. Once upon a time, Jiang-yi also called me that. Noticing my gaze, Jiang-yi quickly clicked to reject the call. The people on the other side did not give up. And called me one after another. Jiang Yi turned off the phone directly. He looked at me with some guilt. I'm sorry. She may need some time. He paused and added, but don't worry, I will handle it. How long have you been together? The unexpected question made Jiang Yi stunned, and he tightly grasped the phone. His voice was a little hoarse. 1 year. I closed my eyes. 1 year. It turned out that when I was afraid that my ghost appearance would scare him, I asked my brother to hide the news of waking up from me. When I tried hard to learn to walk every day and fell and had a bloody head. When I tried hard to learn to speak, my tongue was rubbed by my teeth and bled. When I couldn't unbutton my pants and got them dirty, every time I was about to give up, but I thought that I could see him as long as I recovered, and I gritted my teeth and persevered. He fell in love with someone else. Jiang Yi's promise to stay with me forever did not come true. He only stayed with me for 1 day and left in a hurry. Because the girl was sick. Before leaving, he vowed to me that he was just going to check on her, and that he would break up with her once he was sure she was fine, but he was gone for a week. I was so frustrated that I packed up the things he gave me when we were dating and prepared to return them to him. I'm not cheap. I'm not so pitiful as to beg for love from a man. I'm not stupid. If he really wanted to find out, even if I deliberately asked my brother to hide it, he wouldn't have known that I had been awake for a year. I always make excuses for him. He is very busy. The air tickets are expensive, the journey is long, he has parents to take care of. In the end, even I was tired, so this time, I don't want him anymore. Just when I was holding these things and preparing to mail them out, Jiang Yi's current girlfriend actually came to the door. She was wearing a loose dress and holding a handbag with the words, Maternal and Child Health Hospital, printed on it. She saw me staring at the bag in surprise. She gently stroked her belly and smiled. Jiang Yi and I almost got married. You don't think nothing happened between us, do you, senior sister? The word senior sister broke my dusty memory. The familiar girl in front of me turned out to be Fang Duowei, my junior schoolmate who had always been close to Jiang Yi during college. No wonder my aunt became their witness. She and Fang Duowei's father were lovers when they were young. Are you trying to tie Jiang Yi down with your old love? She tilted her head, showing an innocent look, and then took out a pull ring from the cardboard box I was holding. That was the token of love between Jiang Yi and me during our school days. He said he would give me a real diamond ring in the future. Unfortunately, the diamond ring was eventually worn by someone else. Don't be silly, he knows he's a father. He's so happy. She threw the pull tab to the ground like throwing away garbage. Then leaned close to my ear and said, I'll tell you another secret. Jiang Yi and I have had feelings for each other for a long time. 4 years ago, when you had a car accident, he was going to break up with you. At that moment, all the blood in my body seemed to freeze. I remembered Jiang Yi's hesitation that day, and his indifference in the past 4 years. It turned out that my self-proclaimed infatuation and recklessness were all for others. When turning around, Fang Duowei deliberately knocked the cardboard box in my hand with her elbow, and the large and small things in it fell to the ground. Seeing my lost look, she couldn't stop the pride on her face, as if telling me, see, she won in the end. Who knew that when she stepped back, she accidentally stepped on a crystal bracelet, then her body tilted and she fell on the steps, blood gushing out from her legs. She was so scared that her face turned pale and she yelled at me as a murderer. Jiang Yi, who came running over after hearing the noise, pushed me and made me stagger. Lin Sun, how can you be so cruel? Although I was heartbroken, I didn't hesitate and slapped Jiang Yi in the face. I'm not as disgusting as you guys. Fang Duowei's family called the police and threatened to put me in jail. My aunt looked at me with strange eyes and wanted to draw a line between us immediately. My friends and classmates heard about this and secretly called me a crazy lunatic. But soon, the results of the investigation came out. The surveillance camera at the door of my house was equipped with a recording function, which clearly recorded Fang Duowei's arrogant and disgusting face. She fell and had a miscarriage, which was entirely her own fault. On the day Jiang Yi apologized to me, I stood on the rooftop and looked up at the stars. The sky that used to be filled with stars can now only have a few scattered ones. Everything has changed without me noticing. Xiao Xuan, I was wrong. I shouldn't have distrusted you. Please come down, please. My aunt also came over. Xiao Xuan, I'm sorry for you. Don't do anything stupid. You see, when you start to hate this world, the whole world comes to love you again. I wandered on the edge of the rooftop like a shaky leaf. Jiang Yi knelt in front of me and his head was bleeding. He said he loved me over and over again. I was really tired. During the year of rehabilitation, my mental health also had problems. When it was serious, I needed drugs to barely fall asleep. I naively thought that Jiang Yi would be my salvation, but he pushed me into a deeper abyss. I lost 4 years of good time, my health, my ability to love, my studies, and my disconnection from society. I will never be well again. I opened my arms and let the autumn wind blow through my hair, but my heart was surprisingly calm. As I fell backwards, I looked at Jiang Yi and said, I curse you, you will never get true love. Unexpectedly, I jumped off the rooftop. I was back to the day of the car accident 4 years ago. The young Jiang Yi stood in front of me with his head down, hesitating. Xiao Xuan, actually you want to break up with me, right? The familiar plot reappeared. And I couldn't help but say the words that he had been holding in his heart for him. He suddenly looked up and looked at me in shock. You cheated on Fong Duowei, combined with your abnormal behavior these days. You have been cheating for at least 3 months. After a pause, I breathed a sigh of relief. I agree. The few words that were said lightly seemed to be about someone else's family. Jiang Yi got upset and argued. I didn't cheat. I don't know where you heard these things from, but I never betrayed you. He lowered his voice. I think we are not suitable. How ridiculous. Jiang Yi pursued me for a year, and we have been together for 4 years. He only now thinks we are not suitable, I sneered. And the clock tower not far away rang at 8 o'clock. Snowflakes fell from the sky, and the traffic lights at the intersection flashed twice and completely went out. Everything was the same as in the previous life. Jiang Yi, I originally wanted to give you a chance. If you admit openly that you like someone else, I am willing to respect and bless you. Unfortunately, you don't even have the courage to admit that you made a mistake. I took a step back and looked at him with compassion. 20-year-old Jiang Yi, young and energetic. But his bones are so unbearable. It took me a lifetime to understand. At this time, the sound of tires rubbing on the ground came from not far away, and 2 headlights shone over, piercing people and making them unable to open their eyes. A large truck was heading straight towards me. Jiang Yi on the opposite side was so scared that he ran back, fearing that he would be implicated. But the car heading towards me suddenly hit a stone pier. The car body tilted, and with a sharp turn, it drove towards Jiang Yi again. With a loud bang, a figure fell down. The world was silent. A touch of crimson color flowed on the white snow. A tear fell from my eyes. If Jiang Yi rushed towards me recklessly like I ran towards him in my previous life, then, the truck would only hit the opposite wall. Both of us would be unscathed. What a pity. My Jiang Yi, the boy I fell in love with when I was 16 years old, he didn't even look at me. Jiang Yi was carried to the ambulance, and I picked up the mobile phone left in the snow, and there happened to be a message in it. Just a minute ago, Fong Duowei couldn't wait to post a photo of her and Jiang Yi kissing, with the caption, "You finally belong to me." Many people sent their blessings, including Jiang Yi's brothers who called me sister-in-law. Only my brother from the reconstituted family commented, "These days, are shameless people so blatant?" But soon, the comment was deleted. In the early years, my father and stepmother both died in an accident. My aunt took away most of our family's compensation. It was Yumingyi who raised me. He even dropped out of high school to support my college education. He also accompanied me during the year of rehabilitation abroad. I called Yumingyi, and the voice on the other end was noisy. Yumingyi is not the future computer tycoon yet. He is just a little brother who looks after the place. My nose was sore. Yumingyi, I miss you. Yumingyi borrowed a broken pickup truck, braved the howling wind and snow, and crossed half of the city to see me. The first sentence he said was, "Xiaoxuan, don't cry. If you still like Jiang Yi, I have a way to make him break up with that saner." When he said this, his eyes were full of hostility. It seemed that he could roll up his sleeves and beat up the scumbag and the bitch at any time. My heart was warm. I remember that in my last life, when I woke up from a severe coma, the first person I saw was him. He taught me how to eat, how to talk, and walked with me. He never disliked me for getting my clothes dirty, and he would help me wipe my saliva. The nurses in the hospital secretly laughed at me, saying that no matter how beautiful I was, what was the use? I couldn't even take care of myself and would never get married. He also ran out to quarrel with others, saying that my sister would never get married, and he, as a brother, could afford to support her. In those dark days, he was almost my only spiritual support. Now I think about it, salvation is right beside me. Why should I stubbornly pursue someone who is not worthy at all? Fortunately, in this life, I didn't help Jiang Yi block the car, and I am still healthy. Everything is still new. This time I don't want him anymore. I jumped into Yumingyi's car and said with a firm smile, "Go to Jiang Yi's house. I'm moving. If I'm going to break off, I'm going to break off completely." The car quickly drove to Jiang Yi's house. A whole wall was filled with trophies of all sizes that I won for dancing. I still remember how excited I was to plan everything here when I moved my things into his house. I wanted to keep a bird of paradise on the balcony. The carpet had to be white. I had to buy an air fryer, and there was a dressing table. At that time, I naively thought that this would be my home for life. I slowly put these things into cartons, erasing my past traces bit by bit. Then I closed the door and deposited the keys with the property management. After doing all this, I suddenly felt extremely comfortable. Stop loss in time. It's a principle that I have learned in my lifetime. At this moment, Jiang Yi's brother sent me a message, "Sister-in-law, Jiang Yi had a car accident and his right leg was amputated below the knee. The location is." I didn't even finish reading the words behind it, and I blocked the person directly. "Sister-in-law, this blessing should be given to Fong Duowei." After the weekend, I went to school as usual. 2 things are spreading throughout the department. The first is that Jiang Yi and Fong Duowei cheated on me. The second is that Jiang Yi is disabled. And there is a third thing. My roommate Ren Qing came up to me. She is a know-it-all, and the slightest movement in the whole school can't escape her ears. Fang Duowei went to the hospital to see Jiang Yi. When she learned that he had an amputation, she was so scared that she almost fainted. As soon as Jiang Yi woke up, she proposed to break up, saying that she was still young and couldn't live with a disabled person for the rest of her life. Tisk, they broke up on the day of the official announcement, and even deleted their moments. Renqing sneered and looked at me again. Xiaoxuan, it's a good thing you ran fast, otherwise that damn scumbag would have dragged you down for the rest of your life. I stared at my toes and didn't say anything. Physically disabled, abandoned by the person you love, and a great life ruined. This kind of feeling should be experienced by him personally. More than a month passed like this. I am getting more and more adapted to school life. Not only did I successfully recover my academic performance and rank first in the department, I also received a considerable scholarship. Just when I sent a message to Yuming to share my joy, a message suddenly popped up in the group saying that Jiang Yi was about to be discharged from the hospital, and everyone wanted to hold a party to celebrate his recovery and discharge, and to cheer him up and tell him to cheer up as soon as possible. I complained in my heart, my legs are gone. What is there to celebrate? Then I sent a few photos of the flowers and fruit baskets that I had ordered to the group, and Jiang Yi's brothers did not forget to tag me in the group. Sister-in-law, I haven't seen you come to the hospital for more than a month. You must come on the day you are discharged from the hospital. The location of the hospital was also attached below, a clear hint. Have they forgotten how they said they were a good match and congratulated Fang Duowei on the day she officially announced that she was with Jiang Yi? Why did they think of me, the old sister-in-law? When the new sister-in-law ran away, I was about to respond when Renqing sent a string of voice messages. You tagged the wrong person, right? Xiaoxuan, the ex-girlfriend who was broken up with, can't bear the name of sister-in-law from you. The group was quiet for a minute, and soon someone replied. Brotherly is like this. What is there to worry about in the past? Care about it. Sure enough, they are all birds of a feather. You know nothing. Jiang Yi just lost a leg, but Xiaoxuan lost her love. I was moved. Thank you, Renqing, my internet mouthpiece. I didn't hesitate to scold all those people and then quit the group. I didn't want to care about Jiang Yi, let alone his group of friends who didn't know right from wrong and had distorted values. Renqing praised me in a private message for being cool and rational, and said she was afraid that I would be soft-hearted. How could it be? The things in the last life are still vivid in my mind. I am not that saintly. The things in the group came to an end that day. I made an appointment with Yuming for dinner, but his phone was always unreachable. My right eyelid kept twitching. So I had to call his foreman. Only then did I know that there was a drunk customer making trouble in the store in the afternoon, and he was injured while maintaining order and went to the hospital. I rushed to the hospital. Since I couldn't contact him, I had to look for him like a headless fly. Unexpectedly, I didn't find Yuming, but I bumped into Jiang Yi by accident. Long time no see. He sat in a wheelchair, his cheeks sunken, his face pale. And only the part above the knee of his right leg was still there. His dark pants hung down, leaving only the empty trouser legs. When he saw me, he reached out and pulled the blanket on his legs, trying to cover the missing part. His voice was a little excited. Xiaoxuan, you came to see me. Ha! I didn't expect to meet him here. The wheelchair twisted and turned in front of me. Jiang Yi held my hand tightly, and his dry lips moved. They all said you couldn't come. I don't believe it. We have been in love for 4 years. I know you can't forget me, and you are still worried about me. I couldn't help but think of everything in the last life, and his hesitation on the day of the breakup and his cowardice when danger came. I felt a chill in my heart. Just at this moment, Yuming walked by. I pried open Jiang Yi's fingers one by one. He said expressionlessly, you think too much. I'm not here to see you. I'm here to see my brother. After that, he ran straight to Yuming without paying any attention to Jiang Yi's ashen face. The only person I care about in this world, he's the only one. At this time, Jiang Yi's friends came to pick him up from the hospital with fruit baskets and flowers. One of them was sharp-eyed. Isn't that Lin Sun? I knew she said she wouldn't come, but she still couldn't let go of Brother Yi. But who is the man next to her? They seem very close. I only cared about the wound on Yuming's face. After making sure he was fine, I pulled him away. I hated the smell of disinfectant in the hospital and those people. Hey, why did she leave? No way, she really didn't wait for Brother Yi. Someone was surprised. At this moment, a gaze pierced my back. I looked out of the corner of my eye and saw Jiang Yi with a gloomy face and clenched fists. Jiang Yi doesn't like Yuming. Before we were together, he told me that he didn't like the way Yuming looked at me. Now that Jiang Yi has broken a leg and is in great pain mentally and physically, my heart and eyes are full of people he doesn't like. He must be heartbroken at this moment, but I don't care what he thinks. I don't have the intention to retaliate against him. I just said to the people around me righteously, Yuming, you resign. I probably don't have the patience to wait for Yuming to succeed according to the trajectory of his previous life. I can't bear to see him get hurt at all. My scholarship can fully support myself. I don't want you to work so hard. The nightclub is full of people of all kinds, and there are people who drink and make trouble every day. Today, I was lucky and only had 2 stitches on my forehead. I don't know what will happen next time. What does a kid know? It's just that the bandage is scary, but it doesn't hurt at all. He tried to change the subject in a relaxed atmosphere, but before he finished speaking, I hugged him. He was thin and it was uncomfortable to hug him. Yumini, I thought about the worst possible outcome when I knew you were in the hospital. If anything happens to you again, I'll really go crazy. He couldn't help but choke up. I wasn't very lucky in my last life. My lover abandoned me and my relatives betrayed me. Only this brother who was not related to me by blood had never given up on me. I didn't live up to my expectations. I survived 3 years of sickbed and 1 year of rehabilitation, but I didn't survive the 12 days of returning home. Since I can start over, in the past, I will take care of him the same way he took care of me. The sudden hug made Yumini's chest tense. After a long time, he patted my head. Don't be disrespectful, call me brother. He always looked so dignified. He paused, and his voice softened. Yes, brother is obedient. After returning to the dormitory at night, I used the scholarship I saved to buy a computer online and gave it to Yumini. I know Yumini is a genius in this area. In the near future, he will use his talent to make remarkable achievements in computers. In the last life, he worked while taking care of me who was unconscious, which made him exhausted. In this life, I will try my best to relieve him of his worries and help him succeed as soon as possible. At this time, a strange phone call suddenly came in. After answering the call, no one spoke on the other end, only shallow breathing sounds came. I called a few times and was about to hang up, and the other end said in a hoarse voice, "When did you move out? Why didn't you tell me?" It turned out to be Jiang-yi. "You didn't take the key with you? Are you not going to come back? Ridiculous. If you don't move out, will you stay there for the new year?" "Jiang-yi, we broke up," I kindly reminded him. "You didn't want me." There was a long silence on the other end. Just when I was about to hang up the phone, he said, "I regret it, really regret it." Or was he ruthlessly abandoned by Fong Duowei and remembered my kindness? So what? So, can you go back? No, I refused categorically. I am not a dog that will wag its tail and go back when someone waves at me. Although my childhood experience made me lack love and extremely insecure, but I still have some backbone. The moment I knew he cheated, he was completely dead in my heart. I hung up the phone neatly and put the number in the blacklist. I finally lived again. No one should think of disgusting me. The next day, Ren Qing and I went to the cafeteria to have breakfast together. During the period, she was hesitant to speak and was not in the mood. The porridge in the bowl was almost stirred into mud. I saw that she was worried and asked why. She hesitated again and again, looked at my face carefully and said, "I got a message, Jiang-yi. Took a lot of sleeping pills yesterday and was sent to the hospital." After saying that, she scratched her hair again. I'm sorry, I know I shouldn't say it, but I think you should know. I paused drinking soy milk and said indifferently, "Is he dead?" Ren Qing shook her head. "No, he was rescued in time, and he should still be in the hospital now."
Yeah.
I drank a sip of soy milk. If he is dead, everyone should raise funds to buy wreaths and count me in. If he is not dead, you don't have to tell me about his affairs in the future. This is just the beginning. Sleeping pills, deliberately setting fire to himself, rushing to the middle of the road, and even jumping off the rooftop with a dead heart. In the end, everything I experienced was 1,000 times more painful than his. Compared to my 4 years of living a life worse than death, what is his? After knowing this, I went to get out of class and read in the library as usual, without any ripples in my heart. The news that Jiang-yi took medicine also spread in a small range in the department. People in the class saw that I was too calm, and secretly scolded me for being hard-hearted. I am hard-hearted, compared with Fong Duowei, who immediately drew a line when she learned that Jiang-yi had amputated. I am an ex-girlfriend who was cheated on but never said bad things about her ex-girlfriend. I am simply an angel, okay? 2 days passed like this, and the president of the dance club took me to buy props for the club. After getting in the car, I found out that the driver was the president's boyfriend and Jiang Yi's good brother Shinfan. I didn't want to get involved with people related to Jiang Yi, but I didn't get angry because of the president's face. Who knew that the car suddenly deviated from the route halfway and turned to Jiang Yi's house? I looked at the familiar buildings outside and said with a gloomy face, "What do you mean?" The president glanced at Shinfan next to him with a guilty look. Shinfan was straightforward. "For the sake of my brother, my sister-in-law, I'm sorry." After saying that, he grabbed my wrist without saying anything and dragged me upstairs. As soon as I entered the entrance, there was a sound of something breaking inside. Fong Duowei's crying voice came, "Jiang Yi, didn't I make it clear that day? I can't be with a disabled person, and I already have a new boyfriend now. If you keep pestering me like this, my boyfriend will be unhappy." Good guy, they are really good brothers of Jiang Yi. In order to make him happy, they tied up 2 sisters-in-law in a row. Shinfan's face was also a little embarrassed, and then there was another cough from inside. It was Jiang Yi's voice. Get out. Liking you before was the stupidest thing I have ever done. As soon as the voice fell, Fang Duowei ran out impatiently. When she saw me, she bit her lip and glared at me fiercely. Watch your boyfriend. When he had legs, he was her boyfriend. Now he is my boyfriend without legs. I was so angry that my chest felt stuffy. At this time, Shinfan forcibly pulled me into the living room. He ran out before me and locked the door. A villain. Our movement alarmed Jiang Yi in front of us. He had his back to me and thought I was Fang Duowei who had returned, so he said angrily, "Didn't I tell you to get out? You told me to get out, but you opened the door for me." Jiang Yi's body stiffened, and he turned his wheelchair around. He looked horrible after not seeing him for a few days. His hair was messy, there were obvious black and blue under his eyes, long and short blue stubble grew on his chin, his cheeks were deeply sunken. And his whole face was pale and bloodless. When our eyes met, he hurriedly pulled the blanket on the back of the chair. He wanted to cover the mutilation of his right leg, but the blanket was not taken off, and he fell heavily from the wheelchair. He showed a painful look on his face, and after struggling for a few times, he still couldn't climb back into the wheelchair. He was so anxious that he hammered the ground with his hands, and tears burst out from his eyes unwillingly. Jiang Yi was once the main player of the high school basketball team. After entering college, he represented the school to win many awards. How glorious he was in the past, how embarrassed he is now. I stood there expressionlessly and looked at him. There was no ripple in my heart. He doesn't deserve my sympathy. I won't help him either, just like he never came to see me in those 4 years. At this time, Yumingyi called me, and just before getting off the car, I sent him a distress signal. Now he should be outside the door. I told Yumingyi that I was locked in the house. After he made sure that I was okay, he picked up the fire extinguisher in the corridor and smashed the door frantically. Just when the door lock was about to be smashed by Yumingyi, Jiang Yi quickly crawled to my feet without any dignity, stretched out his hand to grab my trouser leg, and said with red eyes, "Xiaoxuan, it hurts." "Does it hurt?" I took 2 steps back and looked at him coldly. "You deserve it." The door opened with a bang. Yumingyi rushed in from outside and grabbed my shoulder. "Are you okay?" I shook my head and was about to leave with him. Jiang Yi supported himself on the coffee table and tried to support his body, but failed. He could only say to my back, "I was wrong about what happened before. I shouldn't have done anything to let you down, Xiaoxuan. Don't hate me, okay?" I didn't even turn my head. More than hate, it's disgusting. Out of the hall, Shinfan, with a bruised face, lay on the ground and groaned in pain, scaring the president to tears. Looking at this posture, Yumingyi was ruthless when he beat him. I didn't hold back, and kicked Shinfan again when I passed by, and the president cried even louder. Jiang Yi is unforgivable, but Shinfan, who blackmailed me morally, is even more hateful. Yumingyi drove me back to school and comforted me not to be afraid. He rented a house near the school so that he could take care of and protect me in the future. He also gave me all the money he earned from making small program games. It was several times the money I gave him to buy a computer. He touched my head. "Xiaoxuan, your life will be better in the future. With your brother here, no one can bully you." I nodded. In the evening, the president came to me and said that Shinfan was in the hospital, and that they only helped out of pity for Jiang Yi, and even if they didn't tell me in advance, they shouldn't have been so mean to Shin. Fanxia's hand is so heavy. If your boyfriend is having an affair with other girls behind your back, cheating on you, and breaking up with you when you are seriously planning your future, and even blaming you for the mistake, will you forgive him? If your boyfriend gets into a car accident, loses his legs, and comes to you after being dumped by other girls, will you forgive him? The president bit his lip and said nothing. "Since you can't, why do you ask me to be able to?" The president finally apologized to me. Half a month later, Jiang Yi actually came back to school. Maybe he was too strong. He didn't sit in a wheelchair, but came to class with crutches. But the first day he came happened to be bad weather. It had just snowed in the early morning, and the road was particularly slippery. When he saw me, he pretended to be relaxed and wanted to say hello, but as soon as he raised his hand, he fell into the snow. A passing classmate kindly helped him up and saw that his right leg was empty, so he directly carried him on his back. They kindly asked him which classroom he was going to. At that moment, Jiang Yi's pretended strength and remaining self-esteem collapsed. He said no with a pale face, and was taken as embarrassed by the kind-hearted classmates. When he arrived at the classroom, he chose to sit in the last row. Jiang Yi was once a celebrity in the school, and almost everyone in the class knew him. Several girls in the front row looked back frequently, and even bent down to deliberately look at his legs. "You will be struck by lightning if you split your legs. There is only one leg left, and you won't be able to split your legs in the future." Jiang Yi lowered his eyes in embarrassment. He heard it. The next class is physical education. Because the snow outside has not been completely cleared, the teacher chose to teach in the gymnasium. I took gymnastics as an elective. After the exercise, I went to get some water, but I accidentally ran into Jiang Yi sitting in the audience. His eyes fell on the basketball player not far away, and his hand unconsciously grasped the pants of his right leg. Jiang Yi was born to play basketball. He had fought for the school for 3 consecutive years and won many trophies. Unfortunately, He can no longer play basketball. I finished drinking water and prepared to leave. A voice sounded from behind me. If I had chosen to save you when the truck hit me, would everything be different? I didn't answer. Even if I gave him another chance, he would not come to save me. Selfish people are always selfish. It's just that the price is too painful, so I regret it now. At this time, a silver bell-like laughter came from the side, Jiang-yi, and I looked in the direction of the sound. And saw Fang Duowei hiding in the arms of a boy with a smile, and the boy kissed her ear. Jiang-yi turned his head away with an ugly face. It's only been 2 months, and Fang Duowei has a new love, that's right, who can love someone wholeheartedly and never change their mind for a lifetime. Except for the fool who pushed his lover away and let himself be hit by a car in the last life. I turned to leave, and Jiang-yi behind me suddenly stood up and held my hand. Xiaoxuan. Can you give me another chance? His voice choked. I shouldn't have cheated on Fang Duowei. I only realize now that I only love you. I pulled my hand out, and in his hopeful eyes, I curled the corners of my lips lightly. Unfortunately, I don't love you anymore. Not only do I not love you, but I feel disgusted for having loved you before. Jiang-yi staggered a few steps and almost fell to the ground. The next day Jiang-yi dropped out of school. People who once stood in the clouds, in the end, could not accept that they fell into the mud. Time soon came to the day of the college dance competition. In the last life, I filled out the registration form to participate in the competition, but unfortunately, I became a vegetable because of a car accident before the competition came. Even if I recovered in the end, I could never dance again. This has become a permanent pain and regret in my heart, so this time, I prepared an original Chinese-style dance and rehearsed it carefully for a long time. The performance was very successful. I was surrounded by flowers and applause for the first time in a long time. I also won the first prize on behalf of the school. After the competition, I held the trophy and prepared to go to Yumingyi to celebrate, but I unexpectedly ran into Jiang-yi, whom I hadn't seen for a long time. He didn't know where he got the news from, and waited outside the theater early. He was holding a bouquet of flowers in his hand, turning the wheelchair clumsily, and then presented it with both hands. I promised you before that if you can win the prize in this competition, I will buy a bouquet of red roses for you. Congratulations, Xiaoxuan, you finally got what you wanted. Jiang-yi is thinner than before, his eye sockets are deeply sunken, and he seems to have to breathe for a long time to say a word. But even if he appeared in front of me in a miserable state and talked about the things he promised before, it still can't shake my heartstrings. I straightened my back, without even a glance, and followed the crowd down the stairs. The most ruthless response is never to reject, but to ignore. Soon, New Year's Eve arrived. Yumingyi and I decorated the small rental house beautifully. We watched the New Year's Eve party together by the TV. Half a month ago, I was invited by a satellite TV station to dance for the New Year's Eve party. Recorded. It will be broadcast today. I watched the skit while eating the dumplings that Yumingyi made for me. He was waiting for me to appear attentively. Finally, it was my turn to appear. Yumingyi's eyes lit up, and he even went back to record and downloaded it to his mobile phone to watch repeatedly. It was almost 12 o'clock, and the host of the show was counting down. When I counted to 1, my mobile phone rang. It was a text message from an unfamiliar number. Xiaoxuan, congratulations on finally becoming the person you want to be. I am really happy for you. I directly added the number to the blacklist. You can guess who it is. After graduating from my senior year, I successfully joined the most famous dance troupe in the capital. Yumingyi's company is also on track. On my birthday, he took out a passbook with many zeros on it. This money is enough for us to buy a house of our own. Xiaoxuan, I said that I would never let you live a life of drifting and helpless again, and I did it. It's not enough. I shook my head, and in Yumingyi's surprised eyes, I stretched out my left hand. I still need a diamond ring. Yumingyi cried and laughed, like a lunatic. I thought you didn't know what I was thinking, fool. How could you not know if you really love someone? The wedding of Yumingyi and I came soon. There were not many people invited, but they were all friends who had sincerely helped me over the years. Everyone thought I would not wake up, she said. Xiaoxuan, you deserve the best happiness in the world. At the end of the ceremony, I raised my glass to toast the guests. I unexpectedly saw a familiar figure in the crowd. Our eyes met, but the man fled in panic. I didn't care and held Yumingyi's hand. The next day, a news broke in the local headlines. A disabled man fell from a high-rise building and died on the spot.